Hello, I'm Dr. Tim Dalwalder. I medically direct VNA Hospice, Palliative Care of Southern California. We just got done with a really nice, very well-attended talk called Meet the Experts. It happens once a month here in Claremont. And it really talks on many things. Today's topic is cardiac disease, kind of introduction to the broad sense of what that huge statement really means to each person. The topic of heart disease is, I think, relevant to all people because we all know someone that has some significant heart disease, even if there are no symptoms. So it's difficult for me to give you a PowerPoint and say, these are early signs, these are symptoms you will have, because it's extraordinarily diverse and very physiologically complicated. One person's heart disease is not the next person's heart disease. One person's risk factors are not your risk factors. So when I give examples today, and we just talk together, try to keep in mind that the examples I give may not be your example. It may not correlate exactly to your story. But overall, and that's why we have two parts, is that in the end of this dialogue we have together, that I hope we have a dialogue truly where you ask me a question relevant to something that affects your life. But at the end of a complex decision process and discussion, you can figure out where you fit in this realm of risk of cardiac disease, prevention of cardiac disease, how to manage cardiac disease, and just giving you a health plan. We have a second talk, kind of part two of Introduction to Cardiac Disease, what it means to you, coming up October 24th at the same location. And you can, I think, access our talk on YouTube. And also you can look at the website for VNA Hospice of Southern California. It's VNA Hospice and Palliative Care of Southern California. And you can get some dates and future lecture times in a series that will hopefully go on really indefinitely that is called Meet the Experts. And we call different people in from the community, different doctors, community resources. And we just sit and talk. And you know, it's a structured lecture, but very open to conversation. Today's no exception to that. It was a really good conversation with those that suffer or are touched by heart disease. We talked about basic physiology of the heart and vessels, so people have a better understanding of what may be affected in disease. We talked about basic names, so people aren't so as intimidated. They can go and talk to their doctor about what might be needed, what it means in the broad sense to have high blood pressure, hypertension, to have vascular diseases of different types, CHF, congestive heart failure. We talked about names that are common. We talked about medicines, their importance, how to take medicines appropriately in the broad sense, nothing real specific. We also touched on today how important it is that if you have certain symptoms that manifest themselves that from my perspective, indicate a possibility of cardiovascular problems, that you see your doctor, and even more importantly, to talk to your doctor regularly about the way you feel in the broad sense, you know. And that seemed to hit home today, as well as discussion of family history and how cardiac disease is the #1 cause of death in America for men and women. And it's an often silent disease until we have modified system in the negative sense, and we have disease of untreated cardiac origin, cardiac disease origin. So I think that was the main point of today, to get people empowered to discuss things with their doctor specifically about heart disease, specifically about how it relates to them, and to communicate symptoms that they might have otherwise ignored that could be real indicators of disease and a real clue to the doctor of how to organize care for them to help improve the quality and length of their life. So part two, whether you went to part one or not doesn't really matter. We're going to, the same kind of broad topic of cardiac disease and how it relates to you as an individual and how to approach it if you are suffering and or are diagnosed with a heart problem, ranging from arrhythmias to heart failure to heart attacks, many possibilities there. We will continue on the 24th of October about how to kind of cope with that. And it's not a singular answer. It's such a broad disease. I don't want somebody to listen to the YouTube video and say, these are absolute truths. These are broad categorical statements for a multitude of diseases that can be very complicated. And they really need your doctor and you together to be accurately and appropriately treated. So that's really what I want to support and Meet the Experts. Not that I have every answer, but that I support you in being educated, being an advocate for your own health, and having a partner in your doctor.